The sun radiated brilliantly over the Institute of Supernatural Abilities, casting a golden hue on the bustling campus. Amidst the throng of students, one individual stood out, Ning Fong. Engrossed in a mobile game, he strolled past his peers, chuckling heartily as he taunted a rival, urging them to concede defeat. His confidence was buoyed by the significant advantage he believed he possessed in the game. Suddenly, a woman's hand appeared from behind, delivering a sharp slap to his face, causing him to yelp in agony. His friend, Wano, regarded him with a mix of annoyance and concern, chiding him for his lack of focus. "It's high time you got serious and started preparing for the exams," she admonished, while he was lost in a whirl of games. Rubbing the back of his head sheepishly, Ning Fong protested, "I'm multitasking, studying and gaming simultaneously. Besides, I'm 18 now, and I've only awakened a 1 or 2-star profession. Unlike you, who flaunted a 5-star profession at 16. Why should I toil away when I could just lean on your talents?" In response, she seized him by the neck, her grip tightening as she declared, "I won't permit such nonsense." His gasps for air punctuated her words, drawing the attention of other disciples. One remarked, "Look over there. It's the goddess, Wanu." Another chimed in, "Indeed, she's back from special training. A 5-star prodigy, what a rarity in our city." Her lineage and beauty only amplified the chasm between her and the average student. "Who's that unfortunate soul beside her?" inquired another. A voice responded, "That's Ning Fong, the infamous underachiever. At 18, he still hasn't awakened a proper profession." Wanu, in a moment of exasperation, snatched his phone and tugged him to the side, prompting whispers among the onlookers. How could such a divine beauty associate with this loser? One questioned, while another speculated on their childhood friendship, incredulous that an orphan could bond with someone of Wanu's stature. In this world of Blue Star, where reality intertwines with the realm of gaming, individuals over the age of 16 could awaken as adventurers. A gathering of students assembled at the 7th Examination Center, all eager for the 2025 Adventure Awakening exam, a chance to gain strength, agility, magic, and support powers. A poster at the entrance proclaimed the next miracle awakening awaited them. Ning Fong found himself engulfed in the crowd, bemused by Wanu's earnestness. This was his 3rd attempt at the test, yet he was far from a novice. As they entered a chamber dominated by a crystal and an examiner, she articulated the exam's rules. Some individuals would step into the testing area, and those who successfully awakened would receive essential equipment, preparing them for a combat ability test. The students formed 2 lines, voices buzzing with aspirations. One yearned to be a magician, another for strength, while yet another celebrated the allure of stealth and assassination. Amidst the chatter, an examiner called out, "Ning Fong, you're next." With a mixture of determination and trepidation, he stepped forward, disregarding the derisive remarks from his peers. Look at the legendary senior student, clinging to the goddess Wanu, hoping her strength will rub off on him. And yet, he's still unawakened at 18, what a failure. Approaching Teacher Chi, the examiner, he was greeted with a reassuring smile. "No need to fret, we'll commence when you're prepared. Just touch the crystal and relax." Following her guidance, he concentrated, waiting for a sensation. Moments later, he sensed something amiss. A smaller crystal began to levitate above the larger one, glowing with an otherworldly light. The room fell silent, all eyes fixated on the spectacle. Teacher Chi pondered the significance of the glowing crystal, recognizing it resonated with him. The blue light signified the awakening of an ability, and the students' faces twisted into mocking smiles, anticipating failure. But the glow intensified, illuminating the space with brilliance. Ning Fong felt astonished as the light dimmed, revealing a single ability, Mud Swamp. Teacher Chi's expression shifted to disappointment, only 1 star. The students erupted in laughter, deriding his aspirations. What a joke! Did he truly believe he could change the world? Yet, Ning Fong remained rooted, oblivious to their jeers. She beckoned him, inquiring about his awakened abilities, but he was lost in thought. Her concern deepened, sensing the weight of disappointment crushing him. Handing him a bundle and a staff, she urged him to proceed to the next stage. Still reeling from the experience, he recalled the moment he touched the crystal. An unfamiliar voice resonated in his mind, announcing the completion of his awakening and the activation of a system. Curiosity piqued, he questioned its nature. A new message materialized, revealing that the operator had acquired dark abilities, a passive trait called Dark Affinity, which granted immunity to the drawbacks of using dark powers, alongside a unique ability that allowed the casting of a forbidden spell weekly. Ning Fawn's expression darkened, grappling with the implications of wielding such sinister magic. Isn't this just pure malevolence? Forbidden spells are the pinnacle of sorcery. The system chimed in again, announcing a transformation. The Mud Swamp ability had evolved into the forbidden dark spell, Mud Mortal Body. Stunned and bewildered, he pondered the ramifications of his newfound powers. A combat test loomed ahead, but surely no catastrophe awaited him. After donning his basic gear, he steeled himself for the impending challenge. As the teacher signaled their entry, the students surged toward the portal, while Ning mentally implored the system for clarification, yet received no response. When his turn arrived, he stepped through the portal, finding himself amidst a forest where fellow students engaged in fierce battles against relentless goblins. He concealed himself within the underbrush, observing the chaos while the drones hovered above, capturing the action. He was acutely aware that the clearing was under surveillance, rendering reckless use of the dark spell perilous. Thus, he resolved to bide his time, remaining hidden as the drone monitored his every move. Meanwhile, in the observation room, Captain Joe scrutinized the screen, bemused by Ning Fawn's inaction. "What is this guy doing?" he questioned. The teacher explained, "He's in poor health, and his late awakening has left him with a solitary defensive spell ill-suited for direct engagement." Concerned for Ning Fawn's future, the captain suggested sending him back, deeming him unfit to compete, given his one-star profession. Suddenly, a commotion erupted as someone shouted in astonishment. "What's happening?" the captain demanded, turning to the monitor. Excitement rippled through the room as they realized a powerful surge of energy, a formidable force, had emerged in the dungeon, far exceeding that of the average monster. The captain ordered immediate investigation, while the remnants of a destroyed drone lay smoking on the ground. Terrified, Ning Fawn faced a colossal goblin, its grin malevolent as it rallied its kin. "Arise, brothers. No longer shall you be slaves, heed my command. All intruders must perish." With a fist raised high, the goblin proclaimed, "Let the reckoning begin." In the heart of the clearing, as another drone whirred into the vicinity, the formidable creature pivoted swiftly, its colossal fist hurtling towards the mechanical intruder. The impact was cataclysmic, resulting in a violent explosion that reverberated through the air, sending debris cascading down. Ning, who had the misfortune of being situated directly below, rubbed his aching head in bewilderment, pondering the abrupt descent of the drone. His eyes widened with horror as he froze, realizing the goblins had already zeroed in on his presence, encircling him with predatory intent. Their leader, a cunning figure, smirked as he proclaimed the discovery of a bug hidden amongst them, gesturing with a pointed finger that incited a frenzied charge from the goblins. Ning's mind raced with confusion. Why were there so many monsters gathering here? At the forefront, the leader loomed, a palpable aura of menace about him. Suddenly, a spark of inspiration struck Ning as he recalled the fallen drone. A sly grin crept across his face. This was the perfect moment to experiment with the dark technique he had been contemplating. Clenching his fist, he extended his index finger skyward, invoking his ability. A tempest of purple sparks erupted around him, plunging the surroundings into darkness. The goblin leader's expression morphed into one of astonishment as Ning's magic summoned skeletal entities from the depths below, commanding them to assail the goblins without mercy. Meanwhile, in a distant observation room, a man voiced his alarm, reporting the loss of all drone signals. An ominous surge of dark energy was detected within the dungeon, raising suspicions of a king-level monster's emergence. The captain hastily ordered reinforcements to be dispatched, prioritizing the evacuation of nearby civilians. She, a witness to the chaos, felt a chill as she contemplated the destructive potential of such a creature. Where could it possibly have originated? Back in the clearing, the goblin leader was drenched in cold sweat, his nerves fraying as he queried the baffling phenomenon unfolding before him. The protagonist's dark power surged, compelling the summoned skeletons to wreak havoc upon the goblin ranks, dismembering them in a frenzied onslaught. Ning surveyed his hands, crackling with energy, marveling at the essence of forbidden spells. It was exhilarating, yet disconcerting. He was engulfed in a sticky, grotesque sensation. The relentless assault continued, and the system chimed a notification. Ning had gained 10 experience points for vanquishing a goblin soldier. Additional alerts followed as the goblin leader, bewildered, exclaimed at the overwhelming dark force wielded by this human. Suddenly, he felt an immobilizing grip at his feet, glancing down to discover an unseen force restraining him. The skeletal minions surged closer, and Ning, enveloped in purple flames, declared that they should never have ventured here. An explosion rocked the area, and the system announced an impressive gain of 6,000 experience points for dispatching a goblin veteran. As the flames receded, a status window materialized before Ning, revealing his newfound attributes: Level 10 Wizard, Endurance 10, Strength 8, Agility 8, Intelligence 20, and Tenacity 12. Elated by his progress, he reflected on how players typically only advanced 1 or 2 levels during previous combat trials. He pondered the low experience yield from common foes, recognizing that most of his gains stemmed from the elite monster. In the viewing area, luminous spheres of loot descended from the vanquished veteran goblin. Ning's eyes gleamed with excitement as he discovered 2 orange items among the spoils. The first was the Vanguard Emblem, a remarkable artifact promising a permanent increase of 10 agility. He had never encountered anything of its ilk before. The second treasure was the Shadow Assassin Claws, a weapon requiring level 20 for utilization. This formidable item boasted a staggering boost of 13 strength, 16 agility, a 10% increase in attack speed, a 5% chance for critical damage, and a tantalizing 10% likelihood of dealing double damage, also featuring 3 slots for enhancements. Overjoyed at this epic prize, Ning recognized its immense value. Even if he couldn't wield it himself, he could sell it for a handsome sum. His triumph was abruptly interrupted by an announcement from the administration, ordering all candidates to cease combat testing and utilize teleportation scrolls for immediate evacuation. Glancing skyward, Ning questioned the unfolding situation as a purple haze enveloped him. With a realization of the devastation he had wrought, he surveyed the scorched ground, astonished by the manifestation of forbidden spells. The administration reiterated their urgent directive, prompting Ning to kneel and unfurl the scroll. It was imperative to escape before anyone discovered the truth. A magic circle coalesced beneath him, whisking him and his fellow students to safety at the entrance. As he materialized alongside his companions, a grin spread across his face, only to be met with Captain Zhou's command to return to the city post-haste. Gritting his teeth, Ning contemplated the ominous presence of a monster exceeding royal levels of power. Even a collective effort might not suffice to subdue it. Uncertainty gnawed at him. Would reinforcements arrive in time? A shocking revelation followed. The source of the dark energy had vanished. Ning's surprise was palpable as he nervously inquired whether the monster had truly escaped the dungeon. Ning Fong remained composed, turning to the teacher, who was visibly agitated. She insisted on reporting the incident immediately, cautioning everyone to remain silent to avert panic. Plans were hastily made to seal off the institute, allowing only a single exit. Ning Fong attempted to voice his thoughts, but she interrupted, her worry evident as she questioned his well-being. Scratching his head in confusion, he assured her he was fine, but she urged him to leave the premises promptly. The institute was temporarily closed, and re-entry would be restricted unless absolutely necessary. After this turmoil, he returned home with Wu. As they strolled down the street, he inquired about the teacher's grave demeanor, and she revealed that an unknown source of immense power had been detected in the monitored area. Ning frowned, pondering the possibility that this power might be linked to the elite goblin. Once he finally awakened, the testing session had been abruptly halted, leaving him frustrated. Wan Yu, noticing his discontent, expressed concern for his well-being, suggesting that defensive spells could have saved him, albeit they were ineffective for solo leveling. Tomorrow, she would join him on the same team, to which he responded with gratitude, assuring her he could handle things alone. He envisioned showcasing his dark spells to her, eager to reveal his true potential, yet he resolved against using forbidden magic in front of outsiders. Wu shot him a disapproving look, then pointed out that he shouldn't decline her invitation. She insisted on meeting him at the West Gate the next morning at 8 o'clock, warning him not to be late. As she walked away, Ning called after her, seeking her attention, but she ignored him, prompting him to lament her stubbornness. He contemplated feigning illness to avoid their meeting but quickly dismissed the idea, realizing it wouldn't work on her. After some time, he approached the Yuan in exchange, gazing up at the imposing structure. He considered that certain equipment possessed built-in abilities, which could be beneficial for acquiring the necessary tools for the mud swamp. Entering the building, he hoped that the equipment skills would not devolve into forbidden spells. A consultant approached him, inquiring if she could assist him. He expressed his desire to purchase gear suitable for utilizing the mud swamp, be it weapons, clothing, or accessories. The consultant hesitated, noting that he had just awakened, cautioning against spending money on low-level spells when superior equipment with advanced techniques was available for leveling up. She offered to show him everything, but he waved her off, asserting that he only needed basic gear for a short duration. Her demeanor shifted, and she called over another staff member, departing with a huff, muttering about another poor customer not worth her time. A new consultant, Yang Sheng, approached him with a friendly demeanor, inviting him to ask any questions. He recounted his needs, and she led him through the hall filled with various equipment. He tested a mechanical glove and attempted to lift a hefty sword, but it proved too cumbersome. Eventually, she presented him with a ring, asking for his opinion. He admired it, responding with a smile that it was stunning. Expressing gratitude for her assistance, remembering his intention to sell his loot, he inquired about the nearest selling location. Yan Xing agreed to guide him, leading him to the appraisal committee, where Mr. Wang awaited. Mr. W seized the opportunity and activated the appraisal function, observing the weapon's attributes with astonishment. To his surprise, it was classified as an orange-level weapon, boasting dexterity as its primary attribute, alongside low-level requirements and outstanding features. This weapon appeared to be an impeccable choice for novices, equipped with 3 slots for customization. Adventurers could, therefore, tailor the claw to their specifications, enhancing its qualities to suit their needs. It was undoubtedly an exceptional item that would pique the interest of several clients. However, Mr. W hesitated, prompting Ning Fong to scratch his head and respond with a grin, suggesting that the more they offered, the better. The appraiser understood this unspoken cue, rising from his seat with a genial smile, requesting a moment to contact a potential buyer. As this transpired, the girl poured tea for the client, hoping to ease his weight. A few moments later, the appraiser returned, calling out to Mr. Ning with an upbeat tone, announcing that the claws had indeed found a buyer willing to part with 50,000 crystals. After deducting an 8% commission, Ning Fong would receive a staggering 46,000 crystals. His jaw dropped in disbelief at the figure, while Yan Xing expressed astonishment at the hefty sum. The appraiser, Mr. Wang, suggested they fill out some documentation to expedite the transfer, and Ning Fong eagerly agreed, thrilled at the prospect of shopping soon after. Mr. Wang reassured him that following the financial transaction, he would assist in sourcing everything he required. Meanwhile, in another corner, a group of girls discussed their colleague who had opted not to assist Ning. One inquired why she had turned her back on handsome men, while another quipped about her standards, claiming she preferred wealthy, powerful individuals over those of lesser means. Just then, they caught sight of Ning Fong approaching, accompanied by Mr. Wang. One girl speculated that he was the one who had sold equipment for 50,000 crystals and was now on the hunt for gear for himself. Expressions of disbelief ensued, a sum surpassing their combined salaries for 3 months. One colleague lamented missing the chance to accompany him, which would have entitled her to a commission. The girl who initially snubbed him was astonished, exclaiming that she was supposed to serve him, and thus, the commission should have been hers. Shortly after, Yan Xing escorted the protagonist out and advised him to stay safe, encouraging him to seek her out directly next time. Before parting, she introduced herself with a smile. The following day, Ning Fong arrived at their meeting place in high spirits, reminiscing about testing his newfound abilities the night prior, confident that the system would refrain from revealing his secrets. Spotting Durg amidst the throng, he called out to her, but was interrupted by another voice from a nearby group, a shield bearer, a wizard, a berserker, and a priestess. Wana, with a radiant smile, announced her intention to introduce them, identifying her guildmates. The berserker, Zhou Jiangu, greeted him warmly, while the priestess, Setting, waved. Ning Fong reciprocated their greetings but felt uneasy as the wizard and shield bearer remained silent, their demeanor icy. Curiosity piqued, the wizard, Xiao Chan, approached Wana, recalling her imminent second profession transformation. This revelation astonished Ning Fong, who marveled at her level. Was she already at 60? Truly a 5-star talent. The wizard, however, handed her a high-level agility potion, claiming it was merely a gift. Wanu, taken aback, recognized the potion's elite status, one that permanently enhances agility parameters. Setting inquired about its price, and the wizard responded with a confident grin that it was merely a trivial expense, ranging between 20 to 30,000 crystals. Graciously, she declined the gift, prompting confusion from the wizard, who insisted she should accept it. After all, it was extraordinarily valuable, especially if she aspired to attend a prestigious academy. Yet, she remained resolute, asserting that they had much to accomplish and should move on. Ningfang stifled a malevolent grin, approaching her, while the wizard pointedly told her to wait, questioning her time spent with this trash. Hearing his derogatory remarks, she turned sharply, chastising him for his lack of respect. Zhou Jin, smirking, mocked Ningfang's predicament, suggesting luck had evidently evaded him. Ningfang, displeased, pondered the wizard's sudden hostility. Was he unhinged? Why not unleash forbidden spells instead? Sutton, sensing the rising tension, urged the wizard to withdraw, but he countered, insisting she mind her own affairs. With a dismissive tone, he reiterated that the potion surpassed Ningfang's worth, advising him to vanish from sight. Ningfang, maintaining his composure, questioned the wizard's sanity. Was it merely a potion enhancing agility by 3 points, meriting such grandiloquence? Angered, Xiao Chun demanded to know if Ningfang wished for confrontation. The shield-bearer chimed in, smirking, challenging him to display something superior. In response, Ningfang promptly produced the Vanguard emblem, presenting it to Wanu as a gift. "Is this the Vanguard emblem?" she guessed, recognizing it as an orange consumable that permanently boosts stats, a rarity she had never encountered. The others were equally astonished, with Xuan incredulously questioning how such an item could exist. Ningfang, smiling, suggested they would only discover its true nature through experimentation. Hesitant, Wana gazed at the emblem, but he reassured her, claiming it was an item he found at home and chose to bestow upon her. Encouraged by the berserker and the priestess, she relented, deciding to use the emblem. As energy surged through her, the onlookers held their breath, and Ningfang's confidence remained unshaken. Once the process concluded, she examined her palm, smiling as she confirmed her attributes had indeed increased. Her friend, Su, expressed his delight, while the wizard's expression soured in disbelief, questioning the origin of such a treasure. Ningfang, grinning, retorted that the wizard should speak up during his apologies, as his hearing seemed impaired. The wizard, caught off guard, hesitated, glancing at his companions, who remained silent. Grudgingly, he knelt before Ningfang, bowing his head in submission. Satisfied with the turn of events, Ningfang smirked and turned away, casually bidding farewell to the group. As he strolled away, Wano apologized for the earlier confrontation, but he assured her it was inconsequential, affirming it wouldn't tarnish their camaraderie. With a smile, he expressed his enthusiasm for her impending second transformation and entrance into an elite academy. He believed that as long as she remained by his side, his leveling up would progress smoothly. Concerned, she countered that this wasn't the case. He reassured her, claiming he was merely being realistic. Suddenly recalling something, she handed him a book, stating it was a gift for him. Surprised, he inquired if these were spell tomes. She confirmed, explaining he could delve into their contents upon reaching the required level. Flipping through one volume, he marveled at the purple quality, realizing the book must have cost a fortune. She smiled, asserting that no amount of money could adequately express her gratitude for the emblem. He closed the book and accepted her offering, and together they descended into the eerie depths of the ominous cemetery, ready to hunt. As several undead emerged from their graves, a flurry of glowing arrows struck true, dispatching them swiftly. Wana expertly wielded her bow, while Ningfang, sitting beside her, jubilantly announced the defeat of the 666th monster. In the midst of contemplative musings, she abruptly severed her train of thought, removing her phone to respond to an incoming call. The priestess conveyed urgent tidings. An imposing adversary, a fallen lich, was destined to manifest in the cemetery shortly. Such occurrences were uncommon, and thus, an invitation was extended for her to attend. As their dialogue unfolded, her companions strategized for the impending confrontation. When she inquired about joining, Juan insisted she must. After all, the spoils from vanquishing the lich were too tempting to forego. This formidable foe was known to drop coveted items essential for their quest. With a sheepish grin, Sutton muted her phone, while Wana remained pensive, weighing the pros and cons of participation. A glance exchanged with her friend, who gestured affirmatively, reassured her. They were merely in the dungeon for a brief spell, allowing him ample time to level up later. Nodding in agreement, she instructed him to return to a safe zone and await her return. Pleased with her decision, he beamed and nodded, waving her off as she hastened toward the cemetery's epicenter. Calling her mentor, he cautioned her to exercise vigilance and mentioned that she should pay him a visit when time permitted. In a fit of annoyance, she retorted for him to be silent, prompting Ningfang to smirk. Relishing the solitude that followed, just as a potent boss emerged, he reflected on the serendipity of having acquired 2 new abilities the prior day. Each forbidden capability could now be wielded without the expenditure of resources, a boon granted by a passive skill known as the Secret Gift, permitting him to utilize a forbidden spell weekly without cost. Stretching his limbs in preparation, he lamented that, regrettably, he had only 3 abilities at his disposal, with one requiring level 15 for activation. Perusing his ability panel, he noted that with every 5 levels attained, a new power would become accessible. Meanwhile, a spectral horde began to coalesce within the sinister cemetery. A nearby squad perched upon a cliff observed intently, one member alerting the group that the primary boss would emerge from the tower at the dungeon's core. They would need to navigate their way through the treacherous terrain, but caution was paramount. This dungeon harbored formidable adversaries. Suddenly, a radiant flare of flame erupted before them, prompting one girl to exclaim that another squad had surged ahead. A comrade expressed astonishment at their rapid advance, to which another explained that they were the renowned Wen Yu and Shao Chun from the Fierce Lion Guild, celebrated as the nation's most exceptional rookies. Their prowess was undeniable, leaving others trailing in their wake. As their squad engaged in battle against the monsters below, the wizard chuckled, proclaiming the upcoming bosses to conquer. Extending his hand, he unleashed a brilliant flare of flame, deriding any contenders. Meanwhile, Wen Yu, skillfully wielding her bow, queried Jianggu about her newfound strength. He affirmed her assertion, acknowledging that a 10-point increase in agility was no trivial feat. At the heart of the dungeon, a colossal tower bore witness to the arrival of the protagonist through a portal. He alighted upon the balcony, a smirk gracing his visage as he marveled at the efficacy of his spatial spell. One of his spell tomes had evolved into an active ability, Dark Slide, enabling him to traverse the realms of darkness and reposition himself at will for an hour. Sensing an ominous presence, shadows began to coalesce in the hall below, morphing into the form of a lich, and Ningfang gestured toward the creature, teasing that it had been tardy to the party. Offended, the lich extended a hand, unleashing a ghostly visage aimed to consume him. The encounter culminated in an explosion of debris, yet the protagonist remained unscathed, having evaded the attack. The lich, taken aback by his sudden disappearance, remarked on the audacity of this overconfident adventurer who dared to confront him alone. Behind the lich, Ningfang stepped forth from the portal, revealing his intention not to share the loot. The creature, perplexed, demanded clarification, but Ningfang merely waved his hand, activating his new ability, Heavenly Rain. This spell conjured a torrent of fiery rain upon his adversaries from a considerable radius. Ascending above the ground, he manipulated the tower's debris into a blazing inferno, directing it toward the enemy. The ensuing explosion reverberated throughout the tower, shrouding the area in clouds of smoke and glowing fragments. A notification echoed in his mind, awarding him 200 points for eliminating a horde of demonic zombies and eclipsed spirits, alongside 50,000 points for dispatching the lich. His level soared to 30, eliciting an exultant laugh as he acknowledged his readiness for his first transformation. Surveying the treasure trove sprawled before him, he noted a veritable mountain of items, ranging from accessories to precious gems. Regrettably, 2 spellbooks were not unique to mages, yet they held significant monetary value. Among the spoils lay the Pendant of the Fallen Law, an orange-quality accessory, usable only after reaching level 30. It conferred a hefty boost to stamina, intelligence, and resistance against both mental damage and curses, along with immunity to poisons. Additionally, the boss had dropped a Dark Soul Stone, enhancing spell damage and lifesteal. Contemplating the emblem of the lich, he decided to claim it, recognizing its potential utility despite the slight reduction to his stamina. In that moment, the system alerted him to a special item discovery. He could now unlock the hidden profession of necromancer or activate a secret ability within his current vocation as the god of magic. Elated, Ningfang considered the rarity of hidden professions, typically bestowed at birth. Could these emblems truly unveil such paths? Raising the fiery fragments anew, he declared that a true warrior would undoubtedly choose the path of the god of magic. Meanwhile, Wen Yu's squad continued their skirmish when she suddenly spotted flaming stones cascading from the sky. Jiangdu inquired about the source of the terrifying aura, prompting Wan Yu to insist they retreat immediately. Xiao Chun, aggrieved, protested that they had yet to conquer the boss. She admonished him for jeopardizing their safety, while he grimaced, lamenting his misfortune. Pulling out her phone, she resolved to warn Ningfang, only to discover a message from him indicating he had urgent matters to attend to. In the meantime, he found himself in the profession hall. Ascending the grand staircase, he entered to find the space deserted save for a girl named Sulan, who was diligently working at a computer. Upon noticing him, she adjusted her glasses and greeted him, inquiring whether he was there to change professions. He confirmed her assumption, and she requested his information, including name, age, and current profession. Observing that he had only awakened at 18, she deemed it less than ideal. Rising from her seat, she gestured for him to follow her to the area designated for magic professions. As they traversed the hall, where magical crystals danced through the air, she instructed him to follow her directions. He expressed his gratitude before departing. Shortly thereafter, Captain Z approached him, querying about the situation. He reported that a new alarm had been triggered and an investigation revealed significant damage to the ominous cemetery. The source of this power remained unidentified but was speculated to exceed royal levels. She confirmed it had been the second consecutive day of such disturbances, to which he acknowledged, explaining that his superiors had dispatched him to engage the loners for assistance,